Hi, I'm Deepika Grover with Grover Mortgage Group.
And I'm Natalie Van Cardo with the Nat Nate Real Estate Team.
Welcome to our new podcast,
Real Estate of Mind,
where we discuss real estate, life, and everything in between.
We're excited for you to follow us and join in on our journey.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Real Estate of Mind.
Welcome back.
Today we have a very exciting and special guest, Sheila Benjamin from SB Organizers. I am particularly very excited to have her on with us because I am somebody who needs exceptional help with organizing my life and my systems. And Sheila here is a professional organizer. Welcome, Sheila.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here. Let's start off with asking you a little bit about yourself. What led you to become a professional organizer, and what exactly is a professional organizer?
Yeah, okay, so lots to say there.
Yes.
But I guess I'll start just to tell you that it's kind of been a really interesting journey, and hopefully you'll be excited by how it goes. But maybe just for yourselves to know, I've kind of lived this double life for the last 20 years. Started off kind of living this analytical hat as a internal auditor, as an operations auditor, an audit manager, looking at people's processes and evaluating it for improvement. And then at the same time, I was kind of offering people home staging, interior design, event planning. So very creative, a lot more creative. And then I noticed something like a really big shift in the last year is that people are coming to me with more help for their spaces. And there's been such a growing demand for organization in their spaces, more than just changing the look. And I was starting to sit there and go, okay, this doesn't seem right. And then the industry trends for professional organizing is saying more and more people, in fact, 1 in 2 people are finding that they're just living in this chaotic world of clutter. And apparently that's Deepika. So there's the 1 in 50% right there. So
I think it's 2 out of 2 here.
So great. And so, it makes sense though, right? Why we're living in that mentality is think about it. We have so much access to stuff as North Americans, right?
Oh, yeah.
You literally click a few buttons and you have the thing same day, next day. You are living in smaller spaces longer. You guys both know that. It's harder for people to buy their bigger space. So living in small spaces longer. And then think about this whole remote working. We're literally living and working in the same space with remote working, with work from home. So it's been a lot of things that have been building up, and I'm going, it's time. It's time to focus on the business. And what I've done is leverage the audit side of things because I know how to evaluate people's spaces and processes. But I still have the passion for design and decor. So how do I bring it together and actually help people? And so I've decided to tweak the business a bit, and it's more about bringing functional spaces to them rather than just beautiful spaces to them. And it's been such a reward to walk away knowing people aren't just like enjoying their looking at their space, they're loving living in it and being able to like move through it with some sort of ease, right?
Yeah, because I find a lot of people don't realize what living in clutter does to your mental state.
100%.
I am like, when my space is cluttered, I start freaking out and I shut down.
Absolutely.
So and a lot of people don't realize that. Like, I'm going to use my husband as an example. He can be in clutter, but then doesn't realize that once it's like cleaned and organized, like, oh my God, I didn't realize this was bothering me.
Yes.
So it's really important that people have someone that can come in and kind of have like a retrospective look of what's going on and provide input.
Yes, the independent look of going, you know what, this isn't so bad. What you think is bad isn't usually what's really bad.
Yeah.
It's this other things that you've probably ignored.
Yeah.
So it's really good to have that perspective. And to your point, yes, some people can live in it. They think they can live in it. But when they actually see the difference, they're like, oh, wow, it's like a weight off the shoulder.
No, I think that's me. I think I'm the same because I don't realize it either when like my room or my office is a mess. But then when I go and clean it or when my mom goes in and cleans it, it makes such a huge impact. Yeah. And I never realize it. That's so interesting.
So your mom cleans it. We have to talk about that later.
When she said that, I was like,
I have
we need to do that later.
All right.
But before we dive into Deepika's life, what's one aspect of organizing that when people start off with you, they like didn't expect was going to kind of happen?
Well, I think it kind of ties to what I just said too. Is my approach is very different. I come with sort of a little bit of more method. I spend a lot of time on the planning side of things. Like, why is it this way?
I love that.
What's the state of it? Why did it get here? Help me to understand how you're living in it. Because planning is the key to figuring out how do we really want to get to your end goal, and is the end goal really the right goal for you? So that's a big thing. And then I think a lot of people assume that all certain professionals are perfect in what they do, even in their own life. But like, I'm a busy person. I have a mom, I have kids, I have parents, and they don't necessarily keep the space the same way as you would love to.
Yeah.
So I understand that idea of like, you're not going to have a perfect space. You're not going to necessarily be able to easily let go of things. So having a sympathetic approach and not just buying things for the sake of buying it to be organized is really important. So I do try to bring that to clients as well, just being sympathetic and cost effective. Yeah.
I like that you're both analytical, but then also creative. I like that because there's not very many professions that can be both.
Right.
Yeah,
So
true.
I like that you are encompassing both. I really like that.
Thank you.
And then the next question is, do you have a golden rule for deciding what to keep and what to let go of?
Yeah, it's funny. I actually saw a meme, and I'll share that one at the end because that's not my golden rule, but I thought it was kind of funny. My golden rule is give it a year. If you haven't used it in a year, and I know some people say it should be less than that, because think about here in Canada, we have many seasons. So there's an excuse to probably keep it till October or next winter. So fine, 1 full year, if you haven't used it, you probably don't need it, and you haven't had some dynamic change in your weight or whatever it might be that's causing you to keep it, I would say it's time to toss it. That said, I do know myself, it's hard to use that as the basis to get rid of stuff. So I would always say, let's think about other people. Who is somebody else that can benefit from this thing that's great, that you love, that they could benefit from and help people? And just thinking about the time of year for us, thinking about other people now and who else could use something probably makes sense to do now.
Yeah, very
Start
good.
Purging.
Yeah. I always find like before Christmas, I get my kids to go through their toys and then we go through stuff and then we just kind of donate.
That's
like right before
fantastic.
new things come in.
Yeah.
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 What do you say to people? Sorry, this is like a personal question. I'm actually just your client now, so it's fine.
I love it. Yeah.
What do you say to people who just have a hard time letting go of things? I form like personal attachment to all of my things.
100%.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't think you'd be like that type of person, but yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I really am. I think it's because both of my parents are like professional hoarders. So it's just like trickled down to me.
I get that. And I think a lot of it is also culture or like our older generation. They're tied to their things because they look at it. Remember, we've taken for granted things. We literally can replace something tomorrow and we don't care about the things so much. But in that generation, our own parents, they spend a lot of time and effort to get you that thing, and then you don't take care of it, and then you want to give it away to somebody else. Like, that just, my mother is the same. It hurts her to no end that you want to give away something she gave you 12 years ago. In fact, she's really good at giving me stuff from like when I was a kid, from my kid.
Yes.
But like, does she really need all that? And so it's even teaching my own group of people, how do you get rid of this stuff and understand? That's why I said I think it's important to think about other people and the need that other people can have with your things. Because if you can start saying, you know, if I've used this for so long or I haven't used it for so long and somebody else is in need, why can't we offer it to them? And just I think the key here is to just be thankful for the time you had with it. Right. And if you've never used it, which is a lot of people, you get something as a gift and you've never used it, it's literally brand new and in the package. Just be thankful that somebody thought of you as they gave that to you. And think of who else could actually benefit from this. Because it's not serving any purpose just sitting in the back of the closet.
So true.
Yeah.
What are some common problem areas that you see in a home?
Yeah, there's lots. I think we can, as you guys know, let's walk through the house right now.
Yeah.
Your first spot is that entryway, right? Whether it's through your mudroom, your garage, your front door, it's the drop zone. It's so easy to just throw off the shoes, drop the jacket. Kids, especially, the bag goes there right where you're trying to walk. Keys, you name it, it's there. So the key to obviously making sure it doesn't become a drop zone, a dumping ground, is to have your locations, right? Your hooks for your jackets, your shelves, your baskets for things that are really by person, I would even say, or by thing category. Keep in mind it's kids, so they're not at the same level as we are. We tend to put hooks at like 5 feet and above, and we're not thinking that our kids can't reach it, and then we're frustrated when they're asking us for help and why they're not reaching. So think about kids and think about their level of reach, baskets at their level. So just think of those things. Where are you going to drop your keys? Have a little basket for it. Change. It's so easy to just have it strewn. Little plate or a little dish. Like there's so many things you can do that you already have in your house to
you just
keep
got to
these
put
things.
it there.
Yeah, that's all it is. It's not even buying new stuff. So that's our front door as we get in. And then you walk in, you generally go to the kitchen. Everybody goes to the kitchen. Even the teenager that hates hanging out with you is in the kitchen. So with that in mind, it's probably the one space you're going to always find some sort of clutter because people are coming with things, their activities. Maybe your kids are doing homework there. Maybe it's the place to I don't know, watch something, your tablet. I know we have lots of mail ends up showing up there instead of
Yes.
the foyer. So that's a lot of stuff. So this actually goes with the same idea of living areas. Think about your dining area, your living area. That's a space, even though it's intended to be your seating area or a place to eat, it ends up becoming other places, right? It becomes a place to do work. It becomes a place to hang out with people, maybe even eat, right? Like in the living room. I know it's not a faux pas for some people, but what happens is there's things that go into those spaces that don't belong there, and that's how clutter builds up. So the key is before you leave that space, you're taking the thing that doesn't belong there to the space that it's supposed to be.
Yes.
And then the clutter doesn't build up.
So do you believe that everything has like a specific space for where it should be?
Absolutely.
Okay,
But
yeah.
that's the point. Like, that's the process of organizing. Because
Yeah.
you may not have that today.
No.
Your place for things is anywhere and everywhere that you can
Yeah.
find an open space. And I've seen that. I've had homes where you literally don't know where to sit.
Yeah.
And
Oh my
that's okay. It's because we haven't gone through the process.
Yeah.
So once you go through the process, you should have a space for everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're singing my language. Sorry.
I know. Okay.
I have one. How do you help clients create like the system that is going to have a long lasting effect? Because it's great when you
Yeah.
come in,
Yep.
and then you create the process for them. But then how do you help them create this long term?
Yeah, I think the key exactly that. Like, I don't want to walk away having people feel like they can't maintain that space. Otherwise, you've only done half the job for them. So empowering them with some of the steps, I would say there's 5 steps there. Is just always know that there's a place for everything. Find the place that this thing belongs and take it there. I'm not saying it has to be like every day you need to get it back there. That would be an intention, daily routine.
Yeah.
But make sure you have a space for everything. If you don't, it's probably time to figure out if you really need that. 2 is don't just buy storage things just for the sake of hiding it. A lot of people are buying bins. I've gone into like, you know, moms that are frazzled with stuff. Their kids have a ton of stuff that they're willing to give away, and they're buying bins and baskets. And like, but Sheila, I have a ton of baskets. I don't know why I still feel like there's stuff around me. And it's like, well, half the process is not just storing it. It's trying to get rid of that stuff because you don't need it all. And so just buying for the sake of hiding clutter isn't going to solve any problem. So don't do that. Thirdly, I would say is reevaluate your storage spaces. Just because we've done it once and I've come into your home doesn't mean that 3 months from now, a year from now, it's still going to work for you. Maybe you have new things now. Maybe you want to get rid of some of the stuff you once loved. Maybe you finally have let go of the thing that you had some cherished memories to. So it is important to go back to the space and look at the stuff and figure out, is this the best stuff to keep? Is this the best way to store it? And then finally, I would just say, just be able to add this into your daily routine, include people in the process, and let them know this is the goal for us. And you're not going to be perfect every day, but it's gonna come.
So how do you add your family in? Because it's very
was just about to
difficult.
ask that,
Yeah, 'cause
literally.
If you are
Because you can't do it by yourself.
no, and like
No.
I'm very like there, everything has a place. Like this is where it goes, but you know, then the family doesn't reciprocate.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
how do we get them to one notice that it helps, and
Yeah.
then to do it as well?
Yeah, and I agree with you. As if it's a one person effort, it's not going to happen, because all that's going to happen is that person's going to start resenting everybody else that's just not following the process. So key, obviously, like when I come into a space, we have everybody there, kids, teens, spouses, everybody's in the room, and we're planning together. How do you sit down together and have some of the tools that you need to figure out what are the tasks that we need to do? How is every room going to be organized? And give kids that sort of authority to look after their space. So little kids, obviously, it's easier to deal with them because you can make it a little bit more natural, right? It becomes normal for them the younger they are, if you're building it into their routine. And think about, like, I think about labels. We always put labels in, but some of these kids can't read.
No.
So have the visual labels, right? Like little blocks or little toys or stuffies or whatever, and make it easy for them. Bring things to their level. We already talked about that. For spouses, I think it's just having those conversations, like, how can we work together to do this? What are you willing to do? And a lot of it is flexibility. I think if we, type A personalities here, we might force people, and morning person, I'm a morning person. I'm
I'm with
expecting people to have as much energy as me and do it at the same time as me.
Yeah.
But the reality is people have different energy levels at different times.
Yeah.
So respect other people's time and space and when they're willing to do it, and just give them the autonomy to do it when they can, as long as they do it. And don't be so rigid with like schedules. Like, it should happen. Maybe it's weekly for you guys. Maybe it's not daily. maybe every Saturday we're all working together to get the house ready for the next week, as opposed to some people spend every night packing away things. And that's great too.
Yeah.
You got to start somewhere for it to become normal.
And I think the intention behind it is important too. Like, I think families like need to talk about like, why is it important that we have a clean space? Like, what is your why behind it, right?
Absolutely.
Because I think like, for example, like my mom loves a clean space. My dad thinks, why do you want us to live in a museum? Like, where it's a house and it's
my
meant to be
dad
lived
too
in,
in our house.
right?
Yes,
So
absolutely.
they all have always had that disconnect,
Yep.
and now it's trickling down to us because we've heard them for all these years, right? So I
Yeah.
think like sitting down and having that, why is it important?
Yeah.
This is important to me. I
100%.
think that's
And keep in mind, some people's why, to your point, is I don't really care. I don't
Yeah.
know what, so maybe it's that other centeredness. My wife is gonna feel a lot better and
A lot
be
better, yeah.
happier if if this space is better, or my
Yeah.
kids are gonna just sleep better or work better,
Yeah.
whatever it might be. And it might not be about your own why. It might be that you're thinking about
somebody else's
else,
why.
Right? That's the big thing.
What's one small change listeners can make today that would have a big impact on their space?
I think we've already said it a couple of times, is don't put it down, put it away. So if everything
That's
has a
so
space,
smart.
you don't just leave
I
it
am
there and walk
notorious
away.
for that.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So that's the key. That's the simplest thing. If you
Yeah.
could just be intentional about whatever you just brought into the room, if it doesn't belong there, where does it actually go? It probably doesn't belong on the counter. It probably doesn't belong in between the couch, underneath. Like, I don't even want to. Yeah. Anyways.
Touch things once
Yes.
is my thing. Like,
Yes.
why touch it 5 times?
100%.
Just do it one time.
Yeah.
And it's done.
Yeah, but you're like very OCD, right?
I'm so OCD. I can't even hide it. Yeah, no, it's bad. Okay, so we're
We
getting
need
close.
all sorts of people in the world, though, right? Because you need a
Yes.
little bit of both.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you don't
No,
ever
I
get there.
I wish I was more like neat with my things. I wouldn't say like I'm like dirty or anything. Like my place is always like clean, but it's messy is the problem. Like I'm not a neat person.
Yeah.
I need to just put things away.
It's hard.
You gotta come to
Busyness
me. You
of
gotta
life is
come.
good.
Okay, one thing I really need help with is my closet.
Yeah,
because
that's a
I
big
have
one.
a shopping problem.
Yeah.
For clothes specifically, and my closet is not big enough for all of my clothes.
Yes.
So that's my
That's our
main
other
problem area,
big
because
area.
then
Yeah.
all of my like it starts from my closet and then it just keeps coming out into my room and then there's just clothes everywhere.
Yes. And then throw in the mix, if you're very particular like me, you can't have like half worn clothes that aren't dirty, ready for the laundry, but they're not necessarily ready to go back in the closet.
Exactly.
And you have another space for that. And yet most of us don't have a space for that. So it ends up on the bed or
on the
floor.
chair, or on that like infamous
Or-
chair.
Yes, or the bench that you put in just to hold clothes, right? So
Yeah.
there is a lot that can happen. That is the other problem area, is your
And
closet.
there is ways to fix this.
Absolutely.
There's hope. Okay.
And even
I
if you
love
didn't have an
today's
organizer, it's a great starting point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. So we're getting into the holiday season.
Yes.
And holidays, because we're bringing out like decorations and stuff, there's a lot of extra things around. So what are some tips that you have for people to organize during the holidays?
Yes. So where do we want to go? Do we want to talk specifically decoration or in general? Because I think
Let's where
Let's
do you
start with
wanna-
decorations and then
Okay.
go into like everything.
Yeah.
Especially because like then there's a lot of family time and you know like people are coming over. And
Yeah,
all
I just
that
find
kind
like
of
there's
stuff, right?
always extra stuff around.
The
Yes.
holidays,
And like
yeah.
I flare up.
And it's also like it's also hard to set boundaries around the holiday too, right? Like with people like don't make my place messy. It's gonna be messy.
Well, yeah, it is.
Yeah. So okay. So let's talk about it from the idea of overwhelmed with stuff, right? So there's two things I'm going to take from that question. We're overwhelmed. Why are we overwhelmed? It's because there's so many things going to happen in the next 1 to 2 months.
Yep.
Events that people are coming to at your house. They might even be staying over. You're going to people's events, and then you have to apparently bring the perfect gift to their house too. So the overwhelming feeling of like all that just to go to these events is stressful. So back to my whole planning is the key to execution and having a great task sorted out is use your calendars, shared calendars, sit around as a family, get everybody included, and think of all the places you guys are going to be either together or individually and start marking it out on your calendars. Create a to-do list. How are we actually going to execute to these things? What is it that we have to get done to make these events successful? Cleaning a guest room, making food in advance, whatever it might be, and then start being realistic with the timeline of how early you can start to get that stuff done and assign people to it. Let people have some ownership of what they want to do and then work and barter the way through getting the rest of it done. But that's the key, is just to get a lot of people the anxiety is dropped as soon as you write it down and you can see the visual
Yeah, it's true.
of what the next month or two looks like.
Yep.
So that's the overwhelm. Now the stuff that's all around. So I'm going to be we kind of alluded to it already. this is the perfect time, kind of like Natalie just said, to purge. Look at the stuff and think about all the people that are using these donation centers and those services. They're going to these places for their own events and their home holiday events. So why not provide that stuff to them now that you're not using? Toys is a big one. Children's clothing is a big one. Kitchen stuff, your own closet stuff that you haven't addressed. Those would be great. And just be intentional about purging. And now the last thing I'm going to say, because I mentioned gifts, can we consider clutter-free gifts? Like,
what do you mean by clutter-free gift?
I'm going to tell you because
I've never heard of that before. I love
I'm
that.
calling it a clutter-free gift, but you probably heard it in the sense of experience gifts,
Yes,
right? Like, so
love
I'm
that.
the big person. I know you have the other group. We were like, if I don't give you the thing, it doesn't seem like it was a real thought. I didn't put thought into it. So I'm the person that goes, I don't want another thing in my house, or I don't know how many other things another person has, and I don't want to add to their stuff, and I don't want them to have a second of something. So experiences, let the family get together. They're probably not thinking about that. They're just in the busyness of life. So you force them to now go somewhere because you paid for it.
So true.
Gifts like restaurant gift cards. I know some people hate gift cards, but if you're intentional with like very specific boutique places, boutique
Or like
restaurants,
paint night. Like I've gifted paint night stuff before, right? That's so fun. Like, I love gifting experiences.
and then
I agree
think
with you.
about groceries, guys. They're rocketing. The prices
So
are
true.
skyrocketing. Give them a grocery gift card. Nobody's going to kill
That's
you and say, I don't
really
really
smart.
need this.
Yeah, it's
Everybody
true.
Or
needs that.
gas.
And they're going to be making meals themselves this next holiday season. So why are we not preparing them and providing that? So there are so many gifts where you're not adding to other people's clutter.
Yeah.
So think about that, okay? Clutter-free gifts. It's important.
That's really smart.
Yeah.
I really like that.
And think about that for me when you're giving me something.
No, but honestly, so my husband asked for something specific for Christmas,
Yeah.
and it's an experience.
See?
And I'm like, but what are you going to open? It's like, that was my thought. I'm like,
You
but what
put
are you
it
going to
into
open?
A box. You can still
Isn't that
put
weird?
it into
Sorry.
a gift box.
No,
and
I
make
agree
it
with you.
exciting.
I've like wrapped things like that before. Yeah. Like
Yeah.
one time, so my oldest brother, we do Secret Santa. We've been doing it for like lots and lots of years.
Yeah.
It's just easy because now you only have to buy one gift instead of buying like
Yeah.
25 gifts.
Right.
And I always like to gift experiences because I like getting experiences because I'm a
Yes.
big experience girl. Like I'm always like, I can buy myself that diamond ring, but buy me like a ticket to LA or something. You know what I mean?
Correct.
So I bought him one time. It was an experience to like race like supercars, like Lamborghinis and like
Oh,
Ferraris,
nice.
like around a
Yes.
racetrack because he
Yes.
loves like cars. And I was like, how am I gonna wrap this? And then we had an old steering wheel from like a PlayStation game. So I just grabbed the steering wheel, I wrapped it, I put it into a box, I put it into another box, into another box, and he opened it. He's like, why'd you give me my steering wheel from this like game? And I was like, cuz, look at this experience I got you. And it was like a whole thing. Everyone was like, oh my God.
That's
you gotta get like
brilliant.
creative with it. Yeah.
See, you can
Very
still be
cool.
creative
Yeah.
and give a gift card. It's
Yeah.
So I think perfect. Good example.
Wrapping. So
Yes.
wrapping's a thing.
Yes.
I have a whole
Wrapping's a
like
thing.
station downstairs
I like
for
that.
wrapping.
Okay, good.
But like, how do people organize it? Because it can kind of take over a space.
Yes.
So what are the best things that people can do that are hoarding wrapping stuff?
Yeah, so I think you're already ahead of the game, Nat, because you at least have everything apparently in a station. That's the at least what
Yeah,
I've
that's
seen
amazing.
with most people.
Don't have that.
And maybe it makes sense when I'm saying it, but like some people have their Christmas wrapping with their Christmas stuff, and they're like, "This makes total sense." Then I'm like, "Do you not wrap for any other occasion?" They're like, "Yeah, my birthday stuff is in the bedroom," and I'm thinking, okay, I get in their mind it makes sense, but really all your wrapping should be in one space, one bin, one caddy, like a trolley. There are very specific gift wrapping storage units out there that like hang in your closet and don't
Yeah, I've
take up
seen that,
space.
yeah.
So there's like you look, you're gonna find it. But the key for me is keep them all together and don't just think about the wrapping and don't just think about the bags. Think about the ribbons, but also the scissors and the tape. We often are like, okay, I finally found the perfect bag to put this in. And then you're running around trying to find the tape and the scissors.
Me.
So make it, like you just said, a station where everything is there.
Yeah.
And don't dictate that when you bought it, that particular gift wrapping or that bag or when you received it is the same need for when you wrap it. Like, so if it was Christmas wrapping because it was red, doesn't necessarily mean it can't be used for a birthday because it's red. So don't let that dictate it as well. That's what I would say. And then have wrapping parties, because that will allow you to purge a lot of this stuff if it's overwhelming you.
Yeah.
And then it saves other people costs from having to buy it.
Oh, that's smart.
And it just moves things out of your home faster and doesn't
Yeah.
make the boringness of wrapping.
Wait,
because
that's
now
fun.
you're wrapping parties. It's so
Yeah.
fun. Yeah.
Very cool. It's good tips.
Oh my God.
You're like
That's so
enlightened.
fun. I have, wow.
We can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What can you do to better prepare for successful holiday meals?
Yes.
Yeah, that's hard.
So big thing. I'm going to go back to planning, and I know I'm obsessed with planning apparently, but like meal planning, when we go back to that whole idea of calendars and things that people are going to come over to your house or you're taking stuff to people's house, start planning out as early as possible. What is it that you want to take there? Or ask them, hey, what do you need me to bring? Mm-hmm. They're probably not even thinking about it. So now you're just pushing them to also think about it, because it not only just saves you that idea of like last minute, what am I going to bring? It allows you to take advantage of savings. Like, what if you're the one that's looking after the meat, the roast beef, the whatever it might be that's expensive? Look for the savings now and store it early, obviously in the smart way. But also just thinking about, can we do some of this stuff early? Like, can I prep some of this in advance rather than the day of, or running to the store on my way to the person's house to get them the wonderfully wrapped thing from the grocery store, when you could probably put it together yourself for half the price. So that's why I say meal planning is a really important thing. Now, in terms of the kitchen space, if people are coming over, I'm going to tell you, create your zones. Like, it is important. I know I have people in my family who are great at cooking in their little small space, and everything happens there. They're prepped, they're washing, and they don't move. But reality is you need zones to help you be more efficient. Any restaurant kitchen is the same way. So you'd want to set up your space the same way. Prep, washing, cooking, and then serving. And that allows you not only to be efficient, but when somebody comes over, I'm the kind of person, if I'm going to somebody's house, I want to help and get in. I don't want to sit and watch them do all this work for me. So it's a great way to now already have a zone and be like, yeah, you know what? Can you just jump into this area and just wash some dishes? Or yeah, if you don't mind finishing cutting this. So you've got your zones and nobody's on top of you. Mm-hmm. And then on the flip side, as we think about serving, I don't know if you guys set up your like buffets this particular way, especially if you're not doing a sit down. A lot of people think that if you keep your napkins and your cutlery up with the plates, makes sense, right? The reality is people get to the end of the line, all they've thought about is filling the plate, and then like, oh, I guess I need a fork and I need to, right? So place those things at the end of the line, even dressings and sauces, because they're going to think about, what do I need? You don't want to slow down the buffet line because somebody forgot that stuff and now they're disrupting the line. Right. So think about placement of how you serve things too. I hope that
She's
helps.
validating my personality to a next level.
I love it.
No, this is great.
Yeah.
I'm learning so much personally.
Okay, good.
Oh my God.
So the next buffet is at your house and I'm going to see the napkins
100%.
Okay.
And you can grade me.
Okay.
Natalie will be there.
Okay.
She'll be like a fly on the wall. Yeah.
Independent evaluator right here. Yes, exactly.
Okay. Do you have any more holiday questions or should we go into
I think
New
we're
Year's?
done with the holiday.
So let's go into preparing for the new year. Because I know a lot of people have, new year, new me aspirations. And they're always
yourself.
like resolution. 100 every year. I'm like new year, new me. And then no, nothing changes. So the new year is often when people feel motivated to declutter and organize. What are some effective ways to get started?
Yes. So it's like your other New Year's resolutions. You're just wanting to be better.
Yeah.
But I'm going to give you 2 tips to hopefully make sure that this New Year's resolution doesn't last more than just the first month, which is what happens. 2 things. Start small.
Yeah.
Especially if it's not normal to you or your mom is doing it. Think about just a drawer. So like we all have junk drawers. I have my junk drawer that I'm dying to get to at some point before the end of the month. We all have junk drawers. We all have that one shelf we're seeing every day and we're just like, I wish I could just move. And you just don't think about doing it. So be intentional and pick one of these small sizes. Even your purse. I'm sure all of us could declutter our purse. Yeah. Or men like their backpacks, whatever it is, your work backpack. So start small so you're not overwhelmed. Then the second part is do it in chunks, like 30-minute chunks. You can actually get a ton done. And I would say start focusing on those rooms or those places that are single storage items. And what I mean by that is it's not multi-storage. It's not like you're thinking of multiple things in that space. Closet, it's just clothes. Linen closet, it's just towels or bed sheets. A drawer like in your bathroom is just about bathroom essentials. If you keep it to just one thing, then really all that 30 minutes is about purging and reordering. So you'll feel more empowered when you've accomplished such a small thing that you're not going to go, okay, I've learned some of the skills to order this. Now you can probably take it to a bigger space, but start small and keep it to 30 minutes.
I like the time frame. And I just thought, because like my son, if I ask him to do a whole list of things, he gets overwhelmed.
Yes.
Or he'll go into his room and he's like, it's too messy. I can't do it. But if I'm going to put like a timer, then he'll be like, okay, I'll get as much done in that time and then I can take a break, which is fantastic.
And if it's not a formal timer, kids love music.
Yeah.
put on like 2 or 3 of their favorite songs, and they'll keep working. You'll even find if you keep the songs going, they're going for longer than the timer.
Yeah.
That's so smart.
So
Sorry.
music is a great thing.
I
Right?
do
That
the same
motivates
thing.
people.
Music motivates me too. Or sometimes I get this like random burst of energy at like 1 a.m. if I can't sleep. I'll be like, let me just
1 a.m.,
reorganize my
wow.
life right now. So I'll put on my favorite TV show. And then that's the times when I end up doing the most, like or reorganizing my closet or, decluttering my dresser or
Wow.
whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
I am sleeping at 1 a.m.
No, fair enough.
Yeah.
As you know, I am single, so.
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
What is your favorite space in a house to declutter for somebody?
What is my favorite space?
That's a good question.
I'm going to say the kitchen because it impacts so much more and people don't realize that we talked about zones and I was outside, like out on the counters, but the zones and where you put things in the cabinets and the drawers, I am in shock sometimes at where people choose to place some of their things. And then they're wondering like why it takes them so long to do something that should be quicker. Or like if other people are using the space, which is the case in a kitchen, the idea of like picking up my fork next to, I don't know, I'm not even going to say, but like it doesn't make sense, some of the placements of their utensils or their plates. And think about like plates should be closer to the sink and the dishwasher. Otherwise you're spending a lot of time dragging that stuff over to where it needs to be. Pantry probably should be in a further away, but close enough to your prep area, right? That you're able to pull those things out. So there are different things you can do. And I love kitchens because people just immediately feel the impact of it because it's impacting everyone in the space. So not just for cooking, but even the people eating in there. So
Yeah.
that would be my favorite.
Okay.
I noticed that because where like I make a tea every morning and where I have my collagen and my sugar, I'm like, this is not functioning. I shouldn't be walking all around the kitchen just to make a tea.
100%. I'm surprised you don't have like a coffee or tea station already set up in your house.
We do, but my collagen's not there. So it's like, I should just bring it over. But I'm also like, I don't like too much clutter.
Got it.
Then the cabinet where it is, it doesn't fit.
Got it.
So I got to rearrange it. But yeah, that's where I'm like, every morning it pisses me off that I have to walk in 2 different directions. But
No, I'm thinking about like my kitchen right now and like the plates are so far away from where my dishwasher is. And like just last night I was emptying the dishwasher and I'm like, why am I walking a mile back and forth to carry these plates from the dishwasher? So I was like, it's all clicking.
Yeah.
I'm glad.
Oh my God.
You may not have to rely on mom anymore.
Your house is probably so organized.
It can be. I don't live in, I can't like Natalie, I can't live in clutter, but I'm not perfect. There are days.
Yeah.
But like, how does your family react to it? Like, are they on board or are they like, oh my God, Sheila, you're doing the most once again?
No, there's a lot of like anger when people don't follow the process. And just like my daughter gets she's a mini me, so she does get the organization. That's the other SB in this company. But she does feel like she's at the age where now it's the rolling of the eyes. I'm like, why can't you put this back? Like I cannot stand when her crafts are still on the dining table. Like learn to put it away when you're done. But she's a kid. I keep forgetting. She's as tall as me, so I keep forgetting she's a kid.
Oh my God.
And I'm yelling at her like, why? And my husband just knows. He knows the only place he's allowed to be messy is in his office, and I can close the door and never see it.
Yeah, fair enough.
But the rest of the house is everybody needs to do their part. Absolutely.
And he's on board. He doesn't argue with you on.
I'm lucky, and being in this role in this job, I come home thankful to be married to him because he's actually as picky as I am in many things, not everything, but it's amazing to see how his organization, what he chooses to find important, is so. And he's not a hoarder on any level. Like he's all about like get rid of it tomorrow. That's maybe a little extreme even for me, but that helps for sure to have somebody that does it. But if you don't, it's just, again, to your point, let's sit down and figure out what is the why. Am I going to be nicer and yell less? Then maybe we should do it.
Happy wife, happy
I will
life.
yell at you less if you do this for me.
Yes,
Thank
absolutely.
you.
That sometimes works for most men. They just don't want to be yelled at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, do you have a question for the new year? No. Okay. What are your top tips for managing paper clutter?
Oh, gosh. Yes. Actually, I'm doing a project right now. And everywhere I look, and I'm doing multiple spaces in this home, everywhere I look, there's paper. And it's not like kept neatly that they were meant to like, it's just shoved into places. And I'm just like, okay.
Interesting.
So this person never had a process and they always had an intention that they needed to look at it. So that's why it's not thrown out. So that the good intention was there. The process wasn't there.
Yeah.
And so I'm in my process of doing people's homes, I'm also trying to help create visuals for them of what their current state and what their current lack of process has allowed for them. So literally there's piles and piles. I'm not throwing it away. I want him to see what is the cause of multiple years of not having a process for your mail. What does that look like? And how much space does it actually take up? Because when it's all over the place, you don't think it takes up that much space. You're like, it's not bothering me. It's hidden behind this door. But when you fully see it in your face, like 6 boxes worth of like 5 years worth of, you got it. It starts making you go, okay, maybe I do need to have a process. And it helps me to sell the idea, importance of having a process and maintaining it. And so all I would just say is, when you have that mail that comes in the door or that flyer that's sticking on your car or whatever it is, look at it right away and decide, what am I doing with it? Is it just junk, spam? Throw it away. If you're going to keep it and you don't have time to look at it right now, let's create those bins, right? Whether it's in the front hall or in your kitchen somewhere, whatever it might be, a spot. And you're going to create a bin for bills. We have to pay the bills, unfortunately. And if you're not already paperless, you're going to still have that. So create up bills. You're going to look at that monthly and then you're going to get rid of it. So it's going to clear down. Now there's this other pile, right? Maybe it's your kids' crafts like that they made for you. Mommy, I love you for the 100th time. And you know that. Thank you. Or coupons or whatever it is that maybe, there's McDonald's, right? Like some of these things that you have these expiry dates on. And if you don't go back to that bin, it's just going to sit there for 3 years worth and take up space. So just regularly revisit that. Do you need that still? Sit with your kids and go, we enjoyed this lovely card you made for me. It's been a month. Do you have a new one that I can replace it with? So don't let them feel like you're just throwing away their stuff and give them an opportunity to replace it with something.
That's so healthy.
But clear the space.
That's healthy, Natalie.
I keep a lot.
Yeah.
But there's certain things like I won't let them see and I'm just
and
tossing.
that is absolutely.
Do they not ask you like where it goes?
Sometimes I'm like, I don't know.
Oh my God.
And sometimes they don't remember. Like they realistically don't. But she's right. Like there's some things you just don't let kids choose because they're going to just say no naturally.
Fair enough, yeah.
And then other things you want to give them opportunity to feel like they got to be part of that decision. Yeah.
No, that's a very healthy relationship that you got going on there.
Trying. There are days where I'm like, Sophie, this is going in the garbage. And she sees me and she's like, yeah. And then we take a minute and then she's over it. So it's good.
Oh my gosh.
Is there anything that you want to start implementing?
Literally every single thing she said to me.
Good. Okay.
Every
Start
single
small
thing.
Because you're going to be overwhelmed otherwise.
Yeah, I'm already overwhelmed. I'm like thinking of every single thing in my life that I need to declutter, and it's everything.
So you do like personal homes?
Yes.
You do businesses?
Yes.
Which I'm excited.
Now that I'm focused on the business 100%.
Wait, businesses like in which way?
So really,
like
any
processes
businesses,
and systems and stuff?
Any businesses. So there's various things that a professional organizer can do for a business, right?
Okay.
For me specifically, I can obviously evaluate processes. So I am coming with the audit side, which is great. But as an organizer, I can also help visually clear up a lot of the things that are shared spaces amongst people, or maybe desk spaces, workspaces, the warehouse. We're just tacking on things like I can tell you inventory management for a lot of people is not fun. No. It doesn't make sense to them. And they're dealing with a lot of workers that are high turnover. So as soon as you have a system in place, the people that were caring somewhat are gone. And now you're trying to train new people. So having a system in place that's trainable, easily trainable, and people just know when they walk in, this is it, rather than trying to come up with a new process for new folks. So those are things that I do for businesses, other than the obvious things like let's make this neat.
Yeah.
Visual merchandising is a big one for retailers. Like how can you make this, when people walk in, the customer experience is exciting.
Yeah.
Right? Rather than, it's a storage room, but you offer hair care over in this corner, right? Like you don't want that. So you want people to feel like they're in a spa if you're doing hair care.
Right? I feel like Nathan might need this.
We've already had
amazing.
Yeah. I was just thinking about that. I'm like waiting for him to just have the one-on-one meeting with her.
Yeah.
Because it's needed. Yeah.
No, I never realized how important having systems and processes in place are for a business. And I'm learning that now as I'm getting older and more into my business. Yeah. It's so important.
Yeah.
Because then it frees up time for you to do other things to actually build your business 100%. Instead of just spending time on these things.
And that's why I keep telling you, let me do the boring stuff because I love doing it. And you do the stuff you're good at, right? That's the key here. And going back to paper clutter, digitize, and then 100%. That impacts even what you're doing in the business because people go, I'm just gonna put things here, and it's just now a big clutter on your desktop or in your computer files. rather than thinking logically, hey, I need this for tax season. Did I put it by month? Did I put it by
Did you put it in
client?
folder?
Whatever,
Yeah.
project, right? So you do have to have processes even if you're working on
your computer.
A lot of people don't realize that.
No, yeah.
Oh, they don't.
Yeah, no, they don't.
And then there's
I
like
see some people's desktop screens and it's just like a file, like the entire
yes,
picture
covered in
is
different
like
Excel documents, Word
and I'm like,
documents.
know those
hello?
people.
Like, what are you doing?
I live with those people.
Oh,
really?
there you go.
No
See?
way. No,
Yeah.
that's like a hard no for me. I'm like good in that manner.
But it's crazy because if you ask, they know exactly where it is.
Absolutely.
But in my head, I'm like, this, I can't look at it.
But and
Yeah.
that see the key there, even for business, if you think about it, it isn't about that person not being able to access. It's if that person is gone, how does
Exactly.
that get passed over to the person that's taking over their duties?
Yeah.
So that's how they have to look at it. It's not about you. It's about
Exactly.
I need to have this business thriving even
Yeah.
if you're not here.
Yeah.
So I don't know how to ask this question properly, I guess. But what is like the most like what is the hardest home that you've worked on, or what's your hardest project been to date, or your more interesting project? Like, tell us more about your
I did
experience.
a fun project. I mean, I've done a lot of homes and the typical ones, right? Like garages, living rooms, all that kind of stuff. Those are very typical, and that's more because I came in from a design perspective, so it was easy to do those. But like just recently, I did a school. And so that's
very
impacting
cool.
teachers, right? Like
Wow.
that's impacting the staff. We did the art room as the first one. They have a couple places that they have storage issues, and I'm just going, if this is this school, imagine how many other schools are having the same problem. But what they were calling their art room was essentially a storage room, and it was piled. You can see it. You'll see a reel on Instagram of it, but it's essentially like piled up garbage bags. They had every intention. You could see there was an intention to have like crafts put in a nice way, but it kind of just became a very over cluttered shelf. Then they had no shelving, so then things were just boxes were piling up, empty boxes, full boxes. You didn't even know what was in it because they were cardboard. And so we turned it into, it was meant to be a space where teachers could go in, get supplies for crafts, whatever they need. And it unfortunately was also working part-time as a resource room. So there's kids sitting in this junk pile and trying to learn. And these are like obviously kids that need a little extra help. So you're now getting kids that are already having a hard time learning going in there. So I was like, oh, I need to do this. Like I felt like I had to help them on any level. And all we did was create lots of shelves, start putting things in order where a teacher actually was excited to walk in and get the stuff. Like that's what you want. And now every teacher is excited to go in there and get that stuff. That was for me
Very
impacting,
fulfilling.
because it's not just impacting one person. It's not impacting just the children in that room. It's impacting every classroom as a result of a teacher's not spending 3 hours trying to look for something, or not even going in and now buying the stuff. So think about the cost savings of that too, right? So it's not
So
just time, it's
true.
cost.
And it's also like the mental state that it puts you in, because you don't realize like if you add up these little annoyances in a day, like it really impacts you.
No, it really does.
It does.
Yeah.
So
And you
like
wanna
to
keep
not
teachers
to eliminate
happy.
that, it's huge.
yeah, absolutely.
And like the cost savings thing is so correct, because if I think about times where like anything, like I've just gone and bought it because I couldn't find it, and then like a couple days later I found it and I'm like, oh my god, like if I had just known where this was, I wouldn't have had to spend money
That
on
is
it, right?
exactly why I say we need to inventory stuff. Like, so we go back to decorations. If you don't start inventorying it now, you're going to buy the third bed skirt or like the tree skirt or whatever because you forgot where it is, or the platter. I swear I had that platter. I don't remember what it is. And then you end up buying another one. Like, this is how we build up stuff unnecessarily. So the key is taking inventory of these things.
Okay.
And save the money.
Do you have any like particular organizing items that you like to bring to people's houses?
Or that you would suggest
I would
people.
suggest, I would definitely say everybody needs to have shelving. A lot of people believe that just having an open space is perfect for storing stuff. But if you don't have shelves, it's not really easy to start accessing and creating spaces. It's just now becomes boxes and stuff piling on each other. And that's not easy to access. So shelves are a big thing. Clear containers, open bins. I really love, my favorite thing in the world, and I have it all over my house, is the tiered trays. You know, the tiered ones, and then they also pull out as drawers.
Yep.
So it helps to use up all the vertical space that's under your sinks. That thing is like a lifesaver. I used to have stuff just piled on. Believe it, I used to. Put that thing in. My goodness, the amount of stuff you can fit in when you think about your vertical space is huge.
Yeah.
My other favorite, and I don't like to call it Lazy Susan because my mom's name is Susan and she does not believe any Susans are lazy, but it's the turntables. I'm going to call it a turntable.
Yeah.
Those things in those spaces, you know, those cupboards that you can't access up behind and you have to start pulling things out.
Yes.
The turntable just helps to keep it at ease. You don't have to move everything. You're just spinning it.
Yeah.
And then for me, just having caddies, like little caddy trays where your junk drawer, you have your medicines. It's easy to just pull it out, or your crafts. Pull it out. It contains it.
Yeah.
And then you're not spending hours individually putting things back. So it's saving time as well. So those are my favorites. Of course, labels and all those things are great too. But those are my key things: is shelves, trays, caddies. Big deal.
The tiered drawer thing under the sink is like kind of a game changer.
It is huge.
Because my under the sink is just horrid.
Well, think of it. You've got the sink in the middle, and so
I'm
you can't
judging
really put a
myself.
full shelf.
Yeah.
But you have space on either side, and it's just wasted. So
No,
putting these
that's
things in, it takes up all the
amazing.
space.
You don't even realize. So I literally just had this conversation this week. I'm telling my husband our kitchen's too small. I'm like, my kitchen's too.
Your kitchen's fine, Natalie.
I know that, but I'm like, all of our like cupboards are busting at the seams, and it's stuff that we need. So it's like, what's going on? I'm like, this sucks. And he's like, we just need, because he's a kitchen guy. He's like, we just need to put like different, we have to utilize it better. So he's like making internal drawers until we do the full renovation, like certain things.
Yep.
And I'm like, okay, that kind of makes sense.
That helps. Absolutely. Like dividers. Like if you have a messy drawer and all you did was put some dividers in, what a big deal. Because now you've got places for things. It's not just piled up on each other. It no longer becomes the messy drawer. Yeah. Everything's got its little compartment. And all you did was put in like 2 pieces of wood.
So true.
And made huge difference. Any drawer can be impacted by just having dividers.
Yeah, my dad put in, because my dad's like a construction guy too. So my dad, he put in drawers into our cabinets. So now my mom can like pull out the drawers and like now see all of her pots and all of her pans, and it's like such a game changer.
It's huge,
Instead of like not being able to like access some, right?
100%, yeah.
No, it was really smart. That made a huge difference. And even like the dividers for like the spoons and the forks and the knives.
Yeah.
that you can get like
Your cutlery
the
trays,
cutlery
exactly.
is like huge.
Yeah.
My God. Okay. What kind of clients do you take on? Where can people find you? Like, what would you say to our listeners? Who can contact you? Is there anyone you won't take?
Oh, I wouldn't say I wouldn't take anybody. I mean, the whole premise of why I did this is because I want to help people and I'm seeing the need, right? And it's just like when I can sit there and go, it's so easy. You don't need to buy new things.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't I want to help people to use what they have currently? So anyways, you can find me SB Organizers, and it's plural because of my daughter too, right? So there's
Amazing.
2 SB Junior. So sborganizers.com, you can find us there. It'll link to my Instagram, my Facebook account, and you can obviously connect with me on LinkedIn.
Okay.
And then there's a newsletter. You can obviously join our mailing list.
Right.
And I'll
Amazing.
send you tips. And obviously we're going to have, now that it's the holiday season, there's going to be some great offers coming up. So that's something to think about, but we'll have that all throughout the year as well. And then I do free mini consults. So especially if you're living in the GTA and you're either a homeowner or a business, we can certainly figure out what is the plan for you and figure out what makes sense for you. So everything's customized. So I would never just say this is the solution or anything for anybody, but
Okay. So everything is customizable. Okay.
Yeah.
So just so our listeners can understand, you can either you do a consult, and then do you do the entire organizing for them, or can you just say, here, this is what to do, and they do it on their own?
Yeah, so
what do
there's
you prefer?
different things that they can do it. Again, depends on their budget too. Some people are like, I can easily do this. I just need you to help me figure out how to do it.
Yeah.
Right. So it's sometimes it's just, I don't know how to start. And just, if you gave me a list of the things that I need to do and a list of the things I can buy, I can certainly do it. So I can give them that. Or a lot of people, the reality is a lot of people would have every intention to want to do it, and they just don't have the time. So I'll come in and I have 8 hours in a day to do that, whereas most people don't. So if they're looking to get stuff done sooner than later, obviously you probably want to bring somebody in. If you're happy to tackle it as a family, we can certainly draw up a plan to do that. So yeah.
It's amazing.
I find it really inspiring how you found such like a gap in the market and really went and did it. And I love that.
Well, thank you.
Like
I'm
this
excited.
is a market that is not saturated at all.
Yeah, I don't think so, and I am thankful that I do have the evaluation side of things,
For
so
sure,
it does
yeah.
add a whole new level. Like I'm excited to be able to help businesses be better and improve a customer experience altogether. So,
And I find like when
Yeah.
you're in it, you can't see the solution a lot of the times.
100%.
So just having perspective is like, it's
100%.
huge.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's for anybody. Even a professional organizer could absolutely bring one of you in, and you guys could be like, Sheila, you talked about that product. Why aren't you using it here? Like everybody can benefit from having an independent person come in and look at their space.
Yeah, 100%.
Amazing.
Okay. Any last words / advice for those looking to start their organizing journey?
Yeah, I'm going to just say, give yourself grace and know that it is meant to be a lifestyle. It is going to be ups and downs like anything. It's not meant to be a one-time effort, right?
Yeah. It's a lifelong
so don't
process,
get
right?
overwhelmed when there's a whole week where nobody in the house is listening and you haven't had time to do anything. And like I said, if you really need the help and just need a plan, call me. We can figure it out. And maybe we get you that starting point. So then you just move through as a family to do it.
Yeah. Amazing.
Well, I will definitely be calling you.
Awesome.
I'm not just saying that. You have changed my life already. Like we haven't even done anything.
Right? No, honestly, just
There's
even
a
that
lot
you're
of
hearing
tips
it
are
is
amazing.
huge.
It's huge.
You
And
can
it's just
do it
like
today. I know
little
you can.
things.
Your
yeah.
mom might not be happy because she'll feel like she's not being your mom, but you tell her it's worth it.
I think she'll be proud of me. She'll be like, finally, you're listening to me and you're cleaning up your space. So I think it'll be a positive.
It's a big thing for sure. I love that.
All right. Well, Sheila, thank you so much for coming.
No problem.
Loved
It was
having
so
you.
Fun.
So
honestly.
fun.
Yeah.
So fun.
We have lots to talk about next time.
Oh,
Yes.
we do. You'll be
Yeah.
back for sure. Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Awesome.
Thank you.
All right, guys. We'll see you next time. Bye.
See ya.